Good evening. Good evening. How's everybody doing? We're going to have a good conversation tonight. It's going to be good. We're going to talk about the tariffs, right? President Trump has he's been talking about this for a long time. And let me take my glasses off for this. This is important. He's been talking about this for a long time about rolling out tariffs, and it's looking like it's much closer than what we think, right? And we want to talk about that tonight. We want to talk about what that might do to the economy, because a lot of people have been kind of nervous about this. Like, what is this actually going to do? What are the repercussions potentially for the country if this was to be enacted? And we're going to dive deep into that. First off, for those that don't know, tariffs are essentially taxes that are imposed whenever goods are being imported into your country, right? So if you are doing business with another country and they want to bring goods into your country, a lot of countries will put a tax on that. Then obviously the person or entity that is purchasing these goods pays that tax, and they normally pass it on over to the consumer, the person that they're selling the product to. So this is pretty big because, if this is to get enacted, and from what I'm hearing, there's some things that have been paused, right? So some things were supposed to go in play February 4th, but it hasn't been put in play. Let me open my notes though, so I can read from them, and we can get like all the stuff together, right? And for those of you who are tuning in just now, and let's say you're not watching this live, make sure you put replay in the comments so that I can know that you tuned in. Okay, from my notes, so these tariffs, two countries that President Trump wanted to put these tariffs on starting out was Canada and Mexico, right? So this month, February 2025, President Trump signed executive orders imposing 25% tariff on all goods imported from Mexico and Canada, with a reduced 10% tariff specifically for Canadian energy exports, including electricity, natural gas, and oil. These tariffs were scheduled to take effect on February 4th, but were later paused for 1 month after both countries agreed to enhance efforts to prevent drug trafficking into the U.S. Right. So whenever you look at this from the surface, the whole purpose of these tariffs that President Trump has been saying has been, to really enhance our national security, economic fairness, and protection of American jobs. Right. Because if you think about it, if tariffs are imposed on goods coming in from other foreign countries, that obviously makes it more expensive to go out and purchase goods from other countries. So now what's the next option? You either continue to purchase goods from other countries and you pass that expense on to the consumer, or you start to think about how can we manufacture locally in the US. Now, the issue is, regardless of what ends up happening, the people, us, the American people who are purchasing these goods, the prices are going to go up, right? So I think this is very important to talk about because the prices are going to go up regardless of if the goods continue to be purchased from out of the country or if they're manufactured locally, right? So we have to brace ourselves for this. And for those of us who are in small business, this is extremely important because many of you sell products that are made in China or in Turkey or somewhere else. And so now your products, your cost of goods sold, your inventory just got that much more expensive. So what are you planning on doing? Right? I have a few tips for those of you who are tuning in to kind of help with this, right? Because this hasn't all the way been rolled out for a lot of us that are in e-commerce. So you still have some time to do some planning, right? Number one, all of the vendors that you purchase with, I would figure out a way to lock in pricing right now before these tariffs increase, before they get enacted, right? So if you have special terms or special vendors that you're using, that you're buying things from, figure out a way to lock in some long-term pricing. So that way, whenever this is enacted, it won't hurt you as bad as it would if there was no long-term pricing in play, right? So that's extremely important. Number two, you got to look at your pricing. For many of us, with all this happening, you're selling a product that just got that much more expensive. And if you don't do your due diligence and increase your pricing or at least review it with an accountant, then now you're going to be left in a position to where you're not going to be as profitable as you need to be, because we all understand that when we're in business, you have to produce a profit, because profit enables us to obviously pay ourselves, but obviously also do things such as reinvest in our business to grow our business and to continue accelerating. So these are things that you have to really be on top of. And if not, you can see your business start to crumble. If you don't change your pricing or at least review it, I guarantee you, as you're looking at your income statement and your financial statements, you're going to see your sales might end up staying the same, right? But your profit, the margins are going to be impacted greatly. So it's very, very important that you review and optimize your pricing. And those of you that have questions, let me know. Let me know so I can definitely answer them. I think I see a few coming through, but this is big, y'all. This is very, very big. And this is all stands on President Trump wanting to bring American jobs back, right? So is this going to have the effect that he's looking for? Is this going to enable companies to now say, you know what, I'm going to bring a lot of jobs back locally. I'm going to now produce more within the U.S. And from another thing that I was hearing, there's a 25% aluminum and steel tariff that's been imposed, right? So obviously that impacts the car industry, right? So instead of buying cars outside of the United States, he's trying to figure out a way to get people, the car manufacturers, car dealers, to manufacture the cars locally in the US, right? So there's a lot of price sensitivity that's going to be happening around this. There's a lot of things that are going to change. And if we're not on top of that, then that could greatly impact our business and us as people, so this is a big deal. The goal, hopefully, is that everything that he's looking to come out of this will be able to happen, right? Hopefully, more jobs will be created, more things will be able to locally happen. But the impact of this from just a cost standpoint is pretty great. So these are things that, like I said earlier, we as entrepreneurs, you have to be aware of, specifically if you sell a product. You have to be on top of this. And this is why it's important to really talk about this, so that, we can start to figure out these things, figure out what we can do, to enhance and make sure that our business is moving in the right direction. Okay, I see some comments. Let me read. Beloved 17, I see on Instagram you wrote, and he also added an additional 10% tariff on all Chinese goods. Yes, this is accurate. This is accurate. Plus, he said he was going to introduce retaliatory tariffs to other countries either yesterday or today. Correction on goods made from other countries outside of Canada, Mexico, and China. Right. So obviously, with this going on, we understand that countries that are getting these tariffs in the future are obviously going to say, you know what, we need to hit you with tariffs as well. From my understanding, I think one of the reasons why President Trump wanted to put these tariffs in place was countries like China were imposing tariffs on us, right? So, in his eyes, he's like, well, how are they imposing tariffs, but whenever they now come to purchase from the United States, there's no tariff or no tax that they have to pay, right? That doesn't add up in his eyes, right? So, I can see that standpoint, but the biggest thing is, how does this impact us as consumers and also as entrepreneurs? Because we understand that the prices and everything are about to go up. So we still have some time to prepare for this. Specifically, those of us who are not in the car industry, that are not manufacturing cars, you still have some time to prep, to figure out what can you do, right? Some other things in my notes that I want to talk about. Yeah, I mean, from what I'm seeing, we've discussed it all, right? Like, the whole goal is to protect American industries and promote fair trade, right? But obviously, whenever things are enacted, there's always the other side, the unexpected. And I think with President Trump being in office, just about a month, so many things he's been rolling out. A lot of this is happening very, very fast. So it's like, if you don't keep up with the news, if you don't keep up with everything that's going on, in a blink of an eye, 10 more things can happen. And, at some point, something's going to happen that's going to impact you or your industry. So how do you prepare yourself And that's why, we've talked about in previous videos and previous lives how developing your cash reserves is important, because now in a situation like this, you have the cash, the money that you've been putting aside to now go and say, you know what, the tariffs haven't been implemented just yet, so let me go buy a bunch of inventory at this cost and import it into the US while I still can at this cheap price. And now, obviously the tariff is going to be enacted, but I've already bought a bunch of inventory that I can now sell at the regular price that I've been selling it at. Right. So these are things that also you can do as well. But yeah, this is definitely a big conversation, a big topic of conversation. This is a big deal. And if you guys want, I can send you my notes that I have, because I've put together a really good note chart that I can send to you if you're interested in that. Type the word note in the comment section and I can put that together and DM it to you and send it to you as well. Beloved 17 says, yes, he's been targeting certain industries. Yeah, this is a big deal. This is a big, big deal. And, us as accountants, we got to prepare our clientele for things like this. So we're already having these internal conversations within EFS Group to really combat a lot of this, because a lot of clients obviously have expressed their concern, but just know your accountant is going to war for you, and they're trying to figure out ways to help you to continue to grow your business without it being hammered by the increased taxes. But yeah, I just wanted to come on real quick to talk about this. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Obviously, also follow on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere at Ephraim CPA. Trying to get my subscriber numbers up, right? And make sure you comment too if you enjoy all this. And we'll definitely be coming on some more later on this week, Thursday and Friday. But appreciate y'all for coming on. I will see you guys soon.